I'm Shaylin. I'm going to be a junior this year at Oregon State University. I'm studying kinesiology or sports medicine. And honestly, my first year I spent at OSU Cascades, which is in Bend, Oregon. And then I transferred over to main campus this past year and have honestly loved it. So I'm glad I made that decision. But yeah, I live off campus at the moment though.
So I'm Rosie, actually at Oregon Tech in Klamath Falls, and my major is dental hygiene, and I'm going into my sophomore year coming up, so I'm finishing up my freshman year, and I don't know, I really love it. It's a lot smaller than OSU, like a lot smaller, but I really like it there.
The first question is, thinking back to when you were a senior in high school, what was the first thing that you needed to do to figure out where you were going to live? And how did you go about it?
I guess, so my sister actually went to OIT as well, so I kind of just did what she did, and I thought, okay, if she liked it, maybe I'll like it too, because there's only actually two options for housing at OIT, which is have your own room with rooms or have like one single roommate. And I chose to do my own room, which kind of scared me that I wasn't going to make any friends, but that's how I chose my room, was pretty much just what she did.
Honestly, I kind of switched last minute. I was going to go to main campus my first year, but then decided I wanted to be close to home. So I chose the Bend campus, and there wasn't really another option to live somewhere else. So I did live on campus. I could have lived off campus since I was a resident, I guess. But I loved the dorms, even at the Cascades campus, they were super nice. So that was awesome. And you just get to meet so many new people and have an experience that you wouldn't regularly have if you lived at home.
But I'm curious, did you have any other options? Because I know most campuses have more than one style of room, and they have an option of having no roommate, one roommate, two roommates. How did you go about making that decision?
Cost, just because since they were nicer, it was more expensive. So I personally went with the double shared bathroom. So I did have a roommate, and then I had a shared bathroom with another two girls on the other side. There is other options though. There's also a triple, which is even cheaper than a double with a shared bathroom. Or there was also a double with a private bathroom, and then there was a single, either with a shared or a private bathroom, but those were definitely more expensive.
So you mentioned you had a roommate, right? So how did that work out? Was it someone that the college selected for you at random, or did you know them already? Can you share about that?
They do have a roommate matching program at OSU for both, I think, main campus and Cascades. But basically, I actually didn't choose my roommate until probably 2 days before the deadline. So you get put into this, if I remember this right, because it was a couple years ago, you get put into a pool, and then there's a bunch of different people you can choose from. And a lot of girls reach out to each other, which actually my roommate reached out to me, and she didn't have a roommate yet. So she just was like, hey, I was wondering if you wanted to room with me, just this is who I am, this is what I like to do. So that was a way to kind of do that. There's also, when you fill out your roommate matching thing, you can put like what you like to do, your level of cleanliness, just other questions like that, which super nice because then it matches you with so many other people. So that was kind of my process. I got a very cool roommate, which I know sometimes that's not the case, but I lucked out.
Good, that's good to hear. What would happen if that didn't work out so well? Like, what's the process?
Honestly, there's quite a few resources on campus, on both campuses. I personally, on the Cascades campus, there is I guess she's called like the advisor of room and housing and all that stuff, and just a conversation with her and discussing like what's going wrong, if you can fix it or if you can't fix it. And then I know a couple people on Cascades campus had issues with their roommates, and they were resolved and ended up finding new really good roommates. So there's definitely options if you get stuck in a sticky situation.
Okay, can you share about that process transitioning? Because it's one thing to go from parents to residence halls and then go from residence halls to off campus on your own. Can you share with us a little bit of what that looked like?
Basically, I did have a summer in between, so I did move home for that summer. But then after it was a little different than most because they would have gone to main campus and then they would have lived off campus. So they probably would have known that area a little better than I would have. So this year, actually, I did apply for the dorms because I thought about living on the dorms on main campus. But I ended up actually finding an apartment closer by. It's about 2 miles away, but I drive every day and then walk to class every day. But that was definitely a little different, and it was very interesting getting used to the layout of Corvallis since it's a lot different than Bend, because the classes aren't just right there. You have to kind of figure out the layout of the city. It was a whole different experience, but I had a lot of people help guide me on what to do, what to look for. I got really lucky with my roommate. She is a grad student at OSU, and so she knows the ropes a lot better than I do. So she showed me around a lot, and I just kind of grew from there.
So I kind of went through each of the 7 public universities' housing websites and tried to gather as much information as I could, just to talk about it really quick so that when we get this up and live, people can have some information. But basically, I'm going to kind of give an overview and then I'll go into a little bit more specific. But basically, all 7 universities are trying to kind of be on the same page. Some are much more vocal about what it's going to look like for them next year, and some are not as vocal. Most of the universities have a live on campus requirement, just because there's a lot of research and statistics that show that living on campus, you're more successful as a freshman. That being said, next year that's all kind of up in the air, but I think a lot of them are still moving forward with all those plans to have students live on campus. And a lot are looking at possible single room occupancies, but not everybody's stating that. So it's going to kind of come down to the last minute. They're also changing deadlines, so you don't have to declare that you're going to a lot of the schools until September 1st. They are asking you to make a partial declaration. They were said by June 1st. So, and then if you do pay any fees or anything and you decide to pull out by September 1st, you will get all your money back. So those are a few of the generalized plans that I wanted to share with everyone. So OSU is still having a live on campus requirement. They're going to be takeout dining. So you'll just get your food in a takeout container and you can then you choose where you want to eat it in a safe place with social distancing. So they actually have 15 residence halls on the main campus. Once you apply for housing and choose where you think you might want to live, I think you pick your top 3 choices. Then you go to the create my roommate, my college roomie profile. And like Shaylin was saying, they ask you a bajillion questions. Literally, do you like to stay up late? Do you like to get up early? Have you filled that out, Cooper?
Yeah, my favorite question was do you like the room warm or cold?
There you go. So yeah, very specific questions. So then Cooper's going to get all these choices that are somewhat matched with him, and then he can at any point start visiting with those choices, and then he can choose his roommate. So that will be really cool. Some other living options at OSU, there are 45 fraternities and sororities, which is a lot. So that's kind of the information about OSU. U of O, they're talking about living on campus again as well, with a reduced density. That's the terminology they use. So that's what I put on here. But again, I think that's talking like more single rooms. And you're not going to get charged for a single room. You'll get charged with double occupancy is what I've seen on most of the websites as well. U of O actually has 19 different room layouts, 10 residence halls. I put their application fee on there. It's a little bit higher than most. It's $350. I think most are around $100 to $150. They also have a roommate profile, and they will do the matching as well. They also have 19 fraternities and sororities.
So Jennifer, just to clarify, when you say double occupancy, does that mean that if I were to be living on campus, I'd be paying double for the room?
Nope, you'd be paying like there's two of you sharing the room. So a single, like Shailene was saying, is a lot more expensive to have a single room by yourself. And if you share a room, your cost, every time you add a roommate to your room, your costs go down. And OS actually has options with triple and quadruple. Not very many quadruple choices, but a few more triple choices. And then the room is cheaper with each selection.
Right, so there's a chance that you might have a double, but you'll be paying
Yep.
just for your side and not
Yep.
share the room, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think that's what a lot of the universities are looking at right now. No one's totally committing to it. Yeah. So in Western Oregon is very similar. Live on campus is required. They have 2 residence halls. They're going to do dining room takeout. They use the same My College Roomie. They actually have a couple fraternities and sororities. And they actually stated on their site that if for whatever reason, there's only going to be online classes, that they will still allow students to live on campus. And so Southern Oregon, you also have a live on campus requirement. They have 4 residence halls. All of the campuses are doing the dining room takeout. So that way everything just goes in the trash when you're done using it. And then you choose where you want to eat as far as what's safe for you. You're going to create a profile on the housing application, and you don't have necessarily a separate housing application and a separate roommate. It's all kind of one process. They don't really have Greek life at SOU from what I could understand from their website, but they have a Greek life interest group. So they're looking into trying to create some Greek life opportunities. And they also are saying that living on campus will be an option if classes take place. And then the last 3, PSU, they have committed to single rooms only already. That's what they're saying on their site. They have a freshman, what's the FYE? First year experience. Thank you. I'm like, whoa, first year experience for freshmen, but you don't have to live on campus. Dining room takeout. They have 8 residence hall. You will submit your housing contract, which will also include your roommate information. And they actually have 4 fraternities and 3 sororities for living options as well. EOU and OIT had the least amount of information on their websites about all of what's going on. But we do know that EOU is a live on campus requirement, 2 residence hall, and at the same time you will create a profile for your roommate selection as you fill out your housing application. OIT does the first year experience living community where freshmen can all live together and in one lower level of one of the residence halls. But if I'm right, Rosie, you don't have to live on campus, correct, your first year? Yeah, so there's only 2 universities that don't require that. The rest do. And OIT, like Rosie was saying, they have the village, right? And then a residence hall. So I just put 2 residence halls, but one of them is actually called the village. And you can also create a profile for roommate selection if you want, but it sounded like at OIT, you kind of are in charge of finding your own roommates more.